Akwaaba. Welcome. This is Mark, tuning in again to Akwaaba Yoga. Today is Sunday, the 15th of November. Welcome to people tuning in. Queen P, hope you're healing up, get well soon. Hello to B, usual suspects, D-Man if you're in today, Monica if you're in, Giovanni if you're tuning in from overseas, from India, welcome. We're going to be doing a nice flow, as always, or hopefully as always. We're going to focus on the hips, so we're doing some hip opening exercises. It's a really good sequence if you're a runner, or if you're a cyclist, or again if you sit at your desk for the majority of the day. Happy Diwali to anyone celebrating. Good over evil. We will get started now. Cool. Have your water handy and your towel. Again, remember as always to go at your pace, listen to your body. And if I didn't say, my name's Mark if you're tuning for the first time. But let's get cracking. If you've got a block, just keep it to one side, or a tall book perhaps. We're going to start in Malasana. So if you've got a towel, maybe put a towel underneath your heels. If your heels don't go flat to the floor, so you hit your feet hip distance apart, just pointing out 10 to 2. So your toes pointing out, your heels pointing in. I'm just going to come down as far as we can, just bring our bum down towards the floor. Again, if it feels a bit uncomfortable, feel free to use a towel underneath your heels. And this will just set the foundation, the benchmark for the rest of the practice. So I was out yesterday on a cycle in the rain, so my hips are super tight, as are my thighs, so I'm really feeling this. So if you see me, try not to lean forward, try to relax back into the heels. So again, if you do need to use a towel underneath your heels. And maybe use the arms to start to open up from inside of the knees, and start to sit up tall. And try and relax your jaw. If you're straining, just relax into it. Just lean forward, come to your hands, and let's come to the mat. And let's come into child's pose. So again, anyone tuning in for the first time, feel free to come into child's pose at any point in the class. If you've done it before, come straight in. So knees apart and feet together. Just start to walk your body down. Your arms laid out in front of you. And bring your forehead as close to the mat as you can. If your forehead doesn't reach, don't worry, it's all good. Just go towards your edge, or feel free to use a block or a book underneath your head. So relax the shoulders, soften the shoulders. The hunch towards the ears, just relax them down. Feel nice and grounded, supported by the floor here. And let's all start to come into Ujjayi breath. So we're inhaling in through the nose and exhaling back through the nose. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And let's just keep that going at our own pace. Just feel a sense of calmness as you're inhaling and your ribs are expanding. And as you exhale, you feel the air leaving your lungs, coming out through the nose. So Ujjayi breath is what will carry us through the practice. As we move from one asana, one posture, one pose to another, will just help us flow. Poses like child's pose can be really frustrating, especially if we're really active. The thought of just staying still and not doing anything can really be frustrating for some of us. So just acknowledge any frustration that might be coming up, and just let yourself be grounded and come to stillness. Just focus on the breath here, inhaling and exhaling. And without you realizing, just staying in this child's pose is a
really nice way to start to, again, bring openness to the hips. On the next inhale, let's all push up as we come onto our first tabletop. So we want our hands tucked underneath our shoulders, our knees underneath our hips. We're just going to start to undulate through the back. So on the inhale, we're going to bow the belly down, take the gaze up towards the front diagonal, and on the exhale, push your hands to the mat, drawing the navel to the spine, and come to the angry cat pose. And let's reverse it. Inhale to look up, exhale to look at the navel. Let's take 2 more at your own pace. Really draw back the shoulders as you inhale to look up. Exhale, draw in the belly, and look at the navel. Let's go for 1 more. And exhale. Let's now just come to our own freestyle. So without moving the hands and the knees, just move through the torso, through the back, without any sort of structure. Just really freestyle and get to know your body a bit here. If you find any tightness, you want to hold it there for a second, feel free to. And let's all come back into a neutral position. And we're going to just bring our right knee, our right shin more towards the center of the mat. And on the inhale, we're going to start to lift our left knee, our left shin out to the left side, keeping the knee at a right angle. Just see how far you can lift into that left hip. And then come back down. On the inhale, again, let's go up. Maybe set your gaze to your left knee, keeping it at a right angle, curling your toes, and on the exhale, bring it back down. Let's go for 1 more. Inhale to go up, again, just as far as you can, and exhale, bring it back down again. Let's take the other side. So this time you're moving your left knee and left shin a bit more towards center to give you a bit more stability. On the inhale, we're going to raise that right leg up towards the right side. Your knees at a right angle and then bring it back down. You might find you've got more space on one side than the other. Just keep going. Again, at your own pace. We're going for 3 of these. Remember to keep your curls tightening towards your face. This might be your last one. Just lifting that right leg up, keeping that knee at a right angle. Hold it for 3, 2, for 1, and bring it back down. Let's come back into a neutral tabletop. We're going to curl the toes under and push up into our first downward facing dog. So you come into that inverted V. Just start to walk out the legs here as you're coming into your calf muscles for the first time. So you're bending to the left and bending to the right. Gaze is looking towards the back of the room, maybe in between your legs. And come up high on the toes and start to draw your heels down towards the mat. Again, if they don't reach, don't worry about that. But just energetically feel as if your heels are drawing down. Roll your shoulders away from your ears or soften into the shoulders. Draw your belly in. And then come into stillness and just come into your breath here. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. On the next inhale, just come high into our toes. I want to just walk the feet forward as we all meet at the front of our mat in ragdoll. So let's stay just nice and relaxed through the torso. Let the head be heavy, let the arms be long. Let it sway from one side to the other. Maybe take opposite hands to opposite elbows. Don't forget your ujjayi breath here. You're inhaling in through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Maybe take a slight bend into the knees. Let's come into a stationary position. Start to walk your feet in towards each other. If they're hip distance apart, and slowly, let's just start to roll the body up, 1 vertebra at a time. And can keep the torso heavy, the arms heavy, the head heavy. Let your shoulders roll back, use your top. Come up in the head. Shake out the arms, shake out the head. Shake out the legs. And let's all stand at the top of our mat in mountain pose to Tadasana. Just face your palms forward.
Roll the shoulders back, really lift up through the chest, feel nice and tall in the body. On the inhale, let's take the arms up towards the ceiling. Again, stay nice and tall, drawing through your navel, and on the exhale, bend from the hips as you take your hands through prayer, through your body as we come down to our forward fold. On the inhale, let's come to halfway lift, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, place our hands down, step the left foot back and the right foot back as we meet in our high plank. Just rock forwards and back on the toes. Again, if it's there for you, feel free to drop the knees at any point or stay in your high plank. Or your next breath will coming down to a low plank, so bend into the elbows, just push up into our upward facing dog. Rolling the shoulders back, bring the chest through, and curl the toes under as you come to our downward facing dog. So take an inhale through the nose, and exhale out. Just come high on the toes, just jump or step forward to the front of the mat. Take the hands to the shins, and roll the shoulders back for halfway lift. Exhale as we come down. Inhale to roll all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands to the chest as you bend from the hips as you come all the way down. Inhale, hands to the shins for halfway lift, left out through the back. Place the hands down, step the feet back as we all meet in our high plank. Again, feel free to drop the knees, otherwise roll forwards and toes, bend into the elbows for a low plank. Let's push up as we come to our upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we come into our downward facing dog. Take an inhale in for the nose. And as you exhale through the nose, soften into the shoulders. Just come high on the toes. And again, jump or step forward towards the front of the mat. Inhale as you come to a halfway lift. Roll the shoulders back. Draw through your belly. And the exhale, bend as we come to a forward fold. Inhale as you come all the way up towards the ceiling again. And exhale, bend from the hips as you come to our Uttanasana, our forward fold. Inhale to come to a halfway lift, lengthen out through the arms, draw the shoulders back, place the hands down, and step back with the left foot, step back with the right foot. So we'll meet in our high plank. Just quarter walk forwards, bend into the elbows as you come to a low plank. Let's push up into an upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we'll meet in our downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. As we exhale again, soften through the shoulders, lengthen out through the spine. Let's come high on the toes again, and we'll jump or step forwards towards the front of the mat. Go for one more. Inhale, just come to halfway lift. Exhale as we come down to Uttanasana. Inhale as we draw the arms up for one more. Reach out briefly on the fingers, draw in your belly, and exhale, the belly pulled in, bend from the hips, just come all the way down to a forward fold. Inhale to come up to a halfway lift. Exhale, place the hands down, step the left foot back, let's step the right foot back, as you'll again meet in high plank. Again, feel free to drop the knees, bend into the elbows as you come to a low plank. On the inhale, push up into our upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as you come into our downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Just pull that left foot in the back more towards center. On the inhale, I'm going to lift that right leg so it's parallel to the mat. I'm going to draw that right leg all the way through as we meet in crescent lunge, high lunge. So the sole of the right foot's flat on the mat or high on the back toes, on the left toes. Once you feel nice and grounded, left leg is straight, you've got bend in the right knee. Start to lift up through the torso. On the inhale, just draw the arms up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, so you can bend a little bit more into the front knee. Be careful not to take that front knee beyond your ankle. You don't put too much pressure on that knee. On the inhale, lengthen up through the arms, so you're nice and tall in the torso. And on the exhale, bring the hands straight down. Step that right foot back to meet the left foot in high plank. And again, we're going to come into a low plank, so bend through the elbows. On the inhale, let's push up into our upward facing dog. On the exhale, let's all meet in downward facing dog. Let's take the other side. So we're going to move that right foot
A bit more to the center for a bit of stability. Come up onto the right toes as you take that left leg parallel with the mat. Curl your toes into, towards your face. And on your next breath, draw that knee all the way through. And step forward as you come into high lunge, crescent lunge. Again, the left foot is nice and flat in the center of the mat. At the front, you're high on the back toes, on your right toes. When you're ready, start to lift your torso up. And on your next breath, start to draw your arms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen that through your body. Drawing through your lower belly. On the inhale, see if you've got any more room to grow through your torso, through your arms. And on your next breath, bring your hands down towards the front of the mat. Let's step that right foot all the way back to meet the left foot as we all come and meet in high plank. Let's roll forwards into the toes. Bend into the elbows as we come down for a low plank. Let's push up. Let's come into our upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we all meet in our downward facing dog, the inverted V. Again, just energetically draw your heels down towards the mat. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, again, soften through the shoulders and create a bit more length in the back. Your next breath, this time walk the right leg into the center at the back, going for a high lunge again. So first, if that left leg stays up and parallel with the mat or the floor, curling your toes in towards your face. And on your next breath, you're stepping that left leg all the way through towards the front of the mat. Once you feel nice and stable, lift up through the torso as you come to the full expression of the pose. On the next breath in, it's really lengthen that through the arms. And on the next breath in, bend into that right knee and come down, just hover it off the mat. Inhale to come up. Let's go for one more bend. So bend into that right knee, so you're coming low. You might feel a bit of wobbles in the right leg. Let's come back high into our crescent lunge. Bring the hands down towards the front of the mat. Step the left foot, join the right foot at the back for high plank. Again, feel free to drop into the knees. Uncurl the toes to come to a low plank. Let's push up. As we all come into our upward facing dog, curl the toes under as we all meet in our downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. This time I'm going to walk the left foot a bit more into the center of the back. Lift up that right leg so it's parallel to the mat. Maybe come onto the toes of the left foot and start to draw that right leg all the way through and place the right sole of the foot at the front of the mat. On the inhale, we're going to lift the torso up as we all meet in high lunge on the right side. So again, you're straight through your left leg. You've got a slight bend in the right knee. Once you're nice and grounded, start to draw those arms up towards the ceiling. Take a deep inhale in and exhale. On the inhale, again, go nice and toward the arms. And on exhale, bend this time to that left knee. Still high on your left toes. Hover that left knee off the mat. And come up high on the inhale as we come into high lunge. Inhale to lengthen up through the arms. Again, exhale. Bend into that left knee as you hover it off the mat for 3, for 2, for 1. Push those toes into the mat as you come back up into our crescent lunge. Let's place those hands back down at the front of the mat. Step the right foot to join the left foot at the back of the mat as you again meet in high plank. Or your next walk forwards. Again, maybe drops into the knees. Uncurl the toes, bend into the elbows as you come to a low plank. Push up as you come to our upward facing dog. Maybe take a gaze over the right shoulder. Take a gaze over the left shoulder. Come back towards center. And I want to curl the toes under as we all meet in our downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. And exhale, soften through the shoulders. Draw the heels towards the mat. And this time walk the right foot a bit more centre into the back of the mat. Lift up through that left leg, so again it's parallel with the floor. And on your next breath, we're going to take that left leg all the way through. As you place the left sole of the foot down, we'll high the back toes. Once we're nice and stable and grounded, let's come up into our crescent lunge again. So drawing in through your lower abdomen. You're nice and tall through your torso. Take a deep inhale in. And on the exhale, drop that right heel down. Let's all meet in warrior two. So the left leg is pointed forward. The right heel is down on the mat and the right foot is pointing out towards 2 o'clock. You want your right arm back and your left arm forwards. So it's a nice external rotation got going on here with the hips. Just find your focal point here. It might be the centre of the middle finger at the front. Just focus on that drishti point for a couple of breaths. Remember to inhale and exhale through the nose. On your next inhale, let's reverse that left palm. Let's go up and over as we'll meet in reverse warrior. Maybe place that right hand on the right hip. Maybe for one breath. And on the next breath, we're coming to side angle lunge. So place that left elbow just inside of your left thigh. Remember to keep that bend in that left knee. And take that right arm, maybe up towards the ceiling. Maybe take the left hand. If you can, reach down towards the mat or the floor. If you've got a block or a water bottle, feel free to place your hand on that water bottle. But use the resistance of that left elbow against the left hip just to open up your body a bit more towards the right side of the room. You should feel a nice stretch just on the inside of the left hip. Here for another 2 breaths. Another 1. Place your block or your water bottle to one side. Let's cut all the hands down towards the front of the mat. Step the left foot back to join the right foot as we will meet in high plank. So walk forwards and back on the toes here. On your next walk forwards, again, feel free to drop the knees. Otherwise, bend into the elbows as you come down for a low plank. Let's push up as we come to our upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we meet in downward facing dog. I'm going to take that to the other side. So this time walk that left foot a bit more towards centre at the back of the mat. And on your next breath, lift up that right leg so it's parallel to the mat. And on the inhale, I'm going to draw that knee all the way through and place the right side of the foot down so it's at the front of the mat. Once you're nice and grounded, start to lift up through the torso. You're high on the back toes and take your arms up towards the sky. Inhale to draw in through your lower abdomen. And exhale. Inhale to lengthen up. And on your next exhale, we're going to drop that left heel down and come into warrior two on the other side. So you want your right arm facing forward and your left arm pointing back. Keep that bend through that right knee. And this time again, create an external rotation in your hips here. So nice opening in your hips. And then you find your drishti point. So maybe look towards the front of the room. Just find maybe a spot on the wall. I'm going to focus here just for a couple of breaths. Your next breath, going to flip that right palm over this time and cartwheel the hands all the way up, the right hand. Maybe take your left hand towards your left hip. Again, we're here just for a couple of breaths. On your next inhale, start to cartwheel that right arm up and over. You want to place that right elbow just on the inside of the right thigh this time. And take your left arm up towards the ceiling. Just as we did on the other side, just use the resistance of the elbow against the inside of the right thigh, just to create a bit more of an opening in your hips here. Again, I'm not an expert on anatomy, so I'm more into feeling. I feel it
quite a lot in my right hip flexor, just by adding that resistance. I'm not forcing it. And on your next breath, let's cartwheel the hands down. So you bring our hands back towards the front of the mat, step the left foot back, join the right, as we all meet in high plank. Rock forwards onto the toes. Let's bend into the elbows as we come down to low plank. Gonna push up. So come to our upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we all meet in our downward facing dog. We're here for 3 breaths. If you want to have a sip of water here, please do, or use your towel. Otherwise, maintain your ujjayi breaths. You're inhaling through your nose and exhaling. As you exhale through the nose, energetically draw your heels a bit close towards the mat. Soften through the shoulders and create a bit more length in your spine. Just one more breath. Inhale and exhale. We're going to repeat that on either side, but just going to pick up the pace a little bit. But again, feel free to listen to your body here. We'll start by placing the right foot a bit into towards center. Going to lift up for that left leg. So let's power on the mat. Draw that left leg all the way through. And let's meet in high lunge on the left side. Draw your arms up towards the ceiling. Your torso is nice and tall. Inhale to leg back. Exhale, drop into the right heel as you come into warrior 2. Next inhale, flip that left palm over. Let's come up and over into reverse warrior for 1 breath. And on your next breath, come to side angle lunge. Placing that left elbow on the inside of the left thigh. Open up the body towards the right side of the room, using the resistance of the elbow against the left thigh to create a bit more of a twist in the body towards the right side. And on your next breath, cartwheel the hands down towards the front of the mat. Step the left foot, join the right foot at the back of the mat as we all meet in high plank. Just walk forwards and back on the toes. Just engage with the core. On your next walk forwards, bend into the elbows for low plank. Let's push up into our upward facing dog. Soften into the shoulders. And on the exhale, curl the toes under as we come into our downward facing dog. Take your inhale in. And exhale as you soften into the shoulders and draw the heels towards the mat. This time I'm going to walk the right foot to the right foot. Going to walk the left foot into the center. Lift up through the right leg, so it's parallel the mat. And then on your next breath, draw that right knee all the way through, placing that right leg at the front of the mat. Lift the torso off the knee, off the thigh, as you come to crescent lunge. So really push into the toes here. Lift up through the torso for 1 breath, and then drop that left heel down. Take your right arm forward, left arm back, so you come into warrior 2. As you open up towards the left side of the room. Find a drishti point. On your next breath, flip that right palm over. And start to seesaw the arms back. As you come to reverse warrior. See if you've got any more room to stretch and create a bit more awareness and stretch down the right side of the body. On your next breath, cartwheel the right arm over. Place the right elbow, the right arm just on the inside, the right thigh, and open up the body towards the left side of the room. On your next breath, let's cartwheel the hands down towards the front of the mat. Step the right foot, back to join the left foot at the back of the mat. Walk forwards and back on the toes. On your next walk forwards, get a bend into the elbows as you come down for a low plank. Let's push up. As you come to an upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as you will meet in our down facing dog. Take 1 breath in. And soften through the shoulders as you exhale. And again, take a deep breath in. And exhale out. This time I'm going to walk that right leg towards center at the back. Lift up through the left leg, so it's parallel the mat again. And on your next breath, we're stepping that left foot all the way through. This time I'm coming to a low lunge, so let's drop onto the right knee and curl the right toes. Feel free to use a towel maybe,
underneath your right knee if it feels a bit hard on the floor. Once you're nice and grounded, start to lift the torso up off that left thigh. We're going to place our hands just onto our left thigh and just start to walk the body a bit further forward. So aim to create a bit more space this time in through our right hip flexor. Take a deep inhale in and release. Here for another 3 breaths. So really feel into that right hip flexor. Again, this is a really good pose, really good stretch if you're a runner. On your next breath in, let's take those arms up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, place the hands at the front of the mat. We're going to push our hands into the mat and come up high on the right toes at the back of the mat. So you're high on the right toes. And then just start to rock the body forwards and back. So you're rocking forwards and back on those right toes. And then your left hand, your left arm on the inside of your left foot. So both hands on the inside of your left foot here. Maybe place your left foot on the outside edge of the mat. Just keep rocking forwards and back. I'm going to come into lizard pose. I'm not sure if it's one we've done before. So if you've got a block handy or tall book, just keep it to one side. Just keep rocking forwards and back. You can hopefully be feeling it in the right hip flexor. And then just all drop that right knee to the mat. Uncurl the right toes. So you're keeping that bend in that left knee. Your left knee's at a right angle, and slowly start to walk your body down onto the inside of that left knee, that left leg. If you've got a block handy, just place it down and maybe place your elbows, your forearms, on that block. If your forearms don't reach, feel free to tap on the hands, but just start to walk your body, your chest a bit close towards the mat. So you should start to feel it a bit more on your left hip flexor now. If you've got the flexibility there to take your forearms all the way down towards the mat, then go for it. I'm not quite so open on this side, so I'm going to use a block. I'm going to stay in here for 3 breaths. You might find yourself fidgeting a little bit here. Just try and come into stillness and soften into the pose. So wherever you feel the tightness, on your inhale, just feel your breath going towards the area of tightness. And on exhale, just feel it loosening up. Let the head be heavy here. Just go for one more breath. Inhale in. Take the breath to the area of tightness. And on exhale, soften into that muscle. On the next breath in, let's come up high into the hands. Again, place your hands down. Both hands on the inside of that left foot. You're going to curl your right toes under and come back so you're nice and high on the right toes again. Again, just rock forwards and back for a couple more. And on your next breath, with your hands on the mat, see if you can just lift that left leg all the way up. And place it at the back of the mat. And let's all meet in high plank. Let's rock forwards and back on the toes. From here, you're going to bring all your weight to your left toes and lift your right leg up off the mat. Not so high. It's about 3-4 inches off the mat. And I'm going to start to lift that right leg, the right foot up and over the left leg, which stays straight, and then flip it over. So now you're on the side of your left foot and you're high on your right toes. Your right knee's pointed towards the back of the room, and you're balancing your left hand. Start to lift your right arm up and face towards the front of the room. lifting up through that right hip. So really draw your hips up towards the sky. And then we're going to curl ourselves back over. So bring the right hand back over. Let's all meet in high plank. I haven't done that for a long time, so I'm really out of breath. If that's your first time in trying it, you didn't quite manage, it's all good, but it's a good one to practice. So look forwards onto toes in high plank. Let's bend into the elbows as we come down to low plank. Together, let's push up into our upward facing dog. We're going to curl the toes under as we come to our downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and exhale out as you soften into the shoulders and draw the heels towards the mat. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So start to walk that left leg, so it's more towards center at the back of the mat. Going to lift that right leg up, curling our right toes towards our face. The right leg is parallel with the mat. And then your next breath, going to draw that right knee all the way through, placing the right sole of the foot at the front of the mat. Let's all drop our left knee onto the mat, uncover our left toes, so our left shin is flat on the mat, and we're all meeting in low lunge on the right side. So once you're nice and stable, get lift up through your torso. Let's all place our hands, right hand and left hand, on our thigh. On the inhale, lengthen up through your torso. On the exhale, just soften into the body, soften into the pose here. This time we're creating a nice stretch into our left hip flexor here. So it's all good for your right knee to extend over your right ankle. Because we're in a low position, we're not dumping the weight into our right knee as we would do for in a high lunge. So again, we're here for 3 breaths. Inhale to really draw up and lengthen. Exhale, so you can soften any more into that pose. And that's just softening. Again, you're just finding a bit more room in your left hip flexor. Inhale and exhale to release. Let's all place our both hands onto the inside of the right foot at the front of the mat. This time again, maybe just walk your right foot over towards the outside of the right edge of the mat. We're going to curl the left toes under, press into the mat and lift that left knee up, and just start to rock forwards and back on the left toes as we're slowly find ourselves into lizard pose on this side. So it's rocking forwards and back, keeping that bend in that right knee. The left leg is straight. And when next rock forwards, let's bend and place that left knee back down, uncurl the left toes as we come into lizard. So again, the aim is to take our chest towards the mat. You might stay high on your hands and just use support with your hands to bring your chest a bit further forward. Again, just go towards your edge, or feel free to use a block. I'm going to use a block on this side again. I haven't got the flexibility to come down, so I'm going to place my left forearm onto the block. Just hover my right forearm off. It doesn't quite come flat. Just try and prevent your right hip from flaring out to the side. Try and keep the right sole of the foot flat on the mat. You should start to feel it in your right hip flexor a little bit here. And as I said, feel free to step high on the hands and then just start to walk the chest forward. That creates a better intention in your pose. We have 3 more breaths. So again, inhale the breath into any areas of tightness. And as you exhale, just soften a little bit into those muscles. On your next breath, using both hands, just really press our hands into the mat. We're going to curl our left toes back under and lift that left knee up off the mat. And on your next breath, take that right leg all the way back to meet the left foot at the back of the mat in high plank. This time I'm going to walk that right hand a bit more towards center and lift that left leg up off the mat. So again, about 3-4 inches off the mat. And you're going to start to lift that left leg up and over the right leg. You're going to come into the outside of the right foot. Maybe the sole of the left foot is flat on the mat. Or if you can, if it's there for you, come up high to the left toes. And start to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And your hands towards the front of the room. So shine your chest up towards the sky. For one more breath. Let's flip back over. As we all meet in high plank. Well done, guys. Let's walk forwards onto the toes. Maybe put the knees onto the mat. Uncurl the toes. Bend into the elbows as we come into a low plank. Just push your hands to the mat. Roll the shoulders back as you come to an upward facing dog. Curl the toes under as we all again meet in our downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. And one more, inhale in and exhale out. So you soften into the shoulders and draw our heels a bit close towards the mat. Shake out through the head. Start to walk that left foot again, a bit more towards center, but back on the mat. We're going to lift that right leg so it's parallel with the mat once more. And on your next breath, draw that right knee all the way through as we come into high lunge on the right side. So once you're nice and grounded, you're high on your back toes, start to lift up the torso, and draw the arms up towards the ceiling. Engage through your lower abdomen. One more breath. Get nice and tall for your torso. And on the exhale, start to just turn the body around as you come into a wide-legged stance. So you're going to face towards the camera. You're going to face probably towards the side of the room from where you are. Place your hands on your hips. Your feet are beyond hip distance apart here. If you've got a bit more room to go a bit wider, feel free to do so. Maybe just pigeon toe your feet. So your foot's flat on the mat, your toes are pointed slightly in, and your heels are pointing slightly out. Place your hands on your hips. Draw your lower belly as you inhale, shine your chest up towards the sky. I'm going to bend from the hips, not pushing the bum back, but bend from the hips. So coming down to a wide-legged forward fold. So you bend it from the hips. Maybe place your hands out in front of you. Again, feel free to use a block for a bit of stability if you're not quite reaching the mat. And you're going to rock your body forward so you want more weight into your toes. You don't want to be, again, just dumping the body and sitting back in your heels. Feel free to bring your weight more into your toes. And hold it for 5 breaths. Some nice stretch as well to find a bit more room into your hamstrings. If it's there for you, you've got a bit more room, you're a bit more flexible. Feel free to take your hands to the outside of both feet. If you're not quite reaching, you can maybe even close up the gap between the legs. So you can grab the outside of your feet there. If you can't, maybe place the hands on the outside of the shins. And just feel yourself drawing your chest close towards the mat here. Get here for 4 more breaths. So inhale, lengthening up, exhale. See how much more room you've got to bring our chest a bit further, more towards the mat. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, you can maybe use a block. Just placing the hands on the mat, coming to a halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bring your head back down. Maybe walk your feet a bit closer in. I'm going to take some lunges just from left to right. So the hands as close to the mat as you can go. Maybe place the hands on the thighs. Just start to lengthen that through your left leg and bend into your right knee, and then switch. and again switch. So we're just finding movement and a bit of space in the hips by doing this. It's going from left to right. Some people are mega flexible here and go super wide. The great thing about YouTube is that there's no one to compare ourselves to, so just go as far as your body will allow here. If you find a nice juicy spot, you want to hold it for a couple of breaths, feel free to do so. And then come back into the other side. So with this stretch, we're trying to keep the soles of our feet on the mat. Just focusing on the hips here. Let's come back towards center. Place our hands on our hips. Let's come up for a halfway lift. And then come all the way up. Ooh. Let's step towards the front of the mat. Your feet and hips are apart. Inhale, take the arms up towards the ceiling. On exhale, bend from the hips as we come all the way down to our forward fold. Place our hands on the shins for a halfway lift. Roll the shoulders back. On exhale, place our hands down in front of the mat. Step our left foot back. And our right foot back to join our left foot. So meet in high plank. Let's walk forwards into the toes. Bend the heels as we come to a low plank. Together, let's all push up into our upward facing dog. Roll the shoulders back, softening through the shoulders. Curl the toes under as we all meet in our downward facing dog. Hopefully your hips are feeling a bit juicy. I'm going to take that to the other side now. So if I get my maths right, I'm going to walk the right foot a bit more into the center at the back of the mat. This I'm going to lift up for that left leg. So it's parallel to the mat. We're curling those left toes in towards our face. And on the next breath, we're bringing the left leg all the way through towards the front of the mat. Once we're nice and grounded, we're coming up onto our high lunge on this side. So we'll high the back toes, so high up on the right toes. Got a slight bend to that left knee. Drawing through your lower abdomen. Want an anterior tilt of the hips. So firstly, we're pushing your hips forward as opposed to your bumps going back. So push your hips forward, which means you should feel a bit more of a stretch in your right hip flexor. And lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Inhale for one breath, so get nice and tall. And on the exhale, we're going to drop that right heel down, turn and face the right side of the room. As we look to come into a wide-legged forward fold on this side. So again, just take your legs to a nice, comfortable spacing. Place our hands on our hips. Inhale to lengthen up. And exhale, bend from the hips. Taking your chest forward as opposed to your bum back. So come to a wide-legged forward fold on this side. Again, if it's there for you, feel free to take the outside of both feet or place the hands on the outside of your shins or maybe the outside of your thighs. As you inhale, take that breath to the air of tightness. You might be feeling a bit more in the hamstrings here. Or if it is in the hips, just focus on softening on the exhale on your hips. Here for 3 more breaths. If you have got your hands on the outside of your feet here, just again use the resistance of the hands to see if you can pull your chest any further close towards the mat. On your next breath, let's take the hands in towards the center of the mat. So again, place the hands on a block if your hands don't quite reach the mat, or maybe shorten the stance between the legs. We're going to just come to movement as we did on the other side. So just going to bend into your left knee to straighten out the right leg and switch. And just keep going from side to side as you find in movement. And a bit more space in your hips here. There's no rush. So, in this movement, again, if you find a nice juicy spot, feel free just to hold it for a couple more breaths. We'll switch it to the other side. So if you do have tight hips, something as simple as moving from left to right each morning, just find a bit of openness is great. This will come into stillness, come back in towards center. Just place our hands on the hips as we come up for a halfway lift. And then take the body all the way up. Let's shorten the stance, so maybe shuffle the feet in, 90 style. And just come back towards the front of our mats. Our feet are hip distance apart. Standing nice and tall to dust in mountain pose. Our palms are facing forward. Roll the shoulders back, shine our chest out towards the sky. On the inhale, lift the arms all the way up. Standing nice and tall. On the exhale, bend from the hips as we come all the way down to our forward fold. Inhale as you come up to a halfway lift. Roll the shoulders back. And on the exhale, we're going to take our feet so they're beyond hip distance apart. So you can stay at the front of your mat. I'm going to turn around so you guys can see me. I'm going to come back into Malasana pose, just see if you've got any more room compared to when we first started. So again, feel free to use a towel underneath your heels, if that helps. You're going to take your feet just beyond hip distance apart. Both feet are pointing out, your heels are pointed in. And then just come sitting down with your arms on the inside of your knees and use the resistance just to open up. Just see if you've been able to create a bit of room over the past 50 minutes or so. Stay for 3 more breaths. Or if it's part of your practice, use the next couple of breaths to come into crow pose, Vinyasa. So your knees just on the outside, on the upper edges of your triceps. You're going to rock forwards, lifting the toes up off the mat. Bring your toes together. And hold for 2 more breaths. Otherwise, like I said, feel free to just stay in Malasana pose. And then let's all jump the feet back as we meet in our high plank. Bend into the elbows, just come to the low plank. Let's push up. Just come to our upward facing dog. Soften into the shoulders, roll the shoulders back. Just curl the toes under. It's all meeting that downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale in. And exhale to soften the shoulders and just relax into the heels. On your next breath, let's come high on the toes. Let's step or jump towards the front of the mat. Bend the knees, bring our bums low. Let's sit down on our bums, lengthen out through our legs. Shake out through the legs. Before you wrap up, I'm going to come into just a couple of twists. Tips, there's a twist on the hips. So I'm coming to a seated twist here. So let's start by bending into that right knee and lifting that right leg, the right foot up and over the left leg, placing the right sole of the foot down on the mat, just on the outside of the left thigh. So you're placing our right hand just behind us, just to help maintain the integrity of the spine, so we're sitting nice and tall. Lift that foot, that left arm, use the crease of the left elbow just to wrap around that right thigh. On the inhale, we're going to lengthen up. On the exhale, so you can twist the body over towards the right side of the room. So you're twisting from your hips for your lower abdomen here. So just try and keep your chin over your chest, as opposed to just twisting the head all the way around. So inhale to lengthen up, exhale so you've got any more room to twist. And your next breath, just take a counter pose, counter twist. So place both hands out towards the left side. Just bend into the elbows. And then come up and then switch sides. So straighten out through your right leg and then maybe shake out the legs
This time I'm going to bend into that left knee, pointing out towards the ceiling. Take that left foot up and over the right thigh. Place the right hand behind the body. And lift up with that right arm. And again, using the crease of the right elbow, just wrap it around the left knee. Maybe take a grip of your shorts or your leggings. On an inhale, I'm going to lengthen up. And on the exhale, I'm going to just twist over towards the left side. Okay, I'm twisting from the hips from the lower abdomen here. So I'm keeping my chin over my chest. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to twist. Let's go for one more. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. Let's take a counter pose. So just take both hands over towards the right side. Just bend into the elbows. Come back up. Shake the legs. And slowly start to bring our whole body all the way down towards the mat. Lie flat on your back. Bend into your knees. Take a grip of both knees as you just start to massage out through the lower back. First go clockwise, and then maybe anti-clockwise. I'm going to come to happy baby pose. So we're going to take our legs up towards the sky, keeping our knees bent at a right angle. So feel as if you're holding up the ceiling with the soles of your feet. And then if it's there for you, see if you can grab just the outside of your left foot with your left hand and the outside of your right hand. You're taking your knees in towards your armpits as you come to happy baby. Just imagine a baby just rocking on its back here. Again, just by holding the outside of the feet, maintaining that bend in the knees, you should feel it into your right and your left hip flexors. Once you're in this pose, try and keep the base of your spine flat on the mat. Try not to come all the way up. So you're hunched over. You can just hold it for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And on your next breath, just lengthen out through your left leg. Take your left leg back towards the mat. And then just hug it with your right shin. Take an interlace your hands over your right shin. We're going to come into a supine twist. So take our left hand up and over the outside of the right knee. And just start to bring your right knee bent at a right angle up and over towards the left side of the room. Again, feel free to use a block under the knee if your knee's not quite reaching, or let it hover. Just use let's say right knee. I almost said right knee, not left. Using your left hand, place your left hand on the outside of the right knee. And then just take your gaze over towards the right side. So maybe take your gaze over towards your right hand. Here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Start to lift up through the knee. Take 1 more hug in. And let the right leg go long. Just switch. So this time you're drawing that left knee into your chest. Take a hug in of the left knee with both hands. Just feel into your hips here, so you just maybe go clockwise again. This time taking your right hand up and over the outside of the left knee. You're drawing that left knee at a right angle over towards the right side of the room. Again, feel free to use a block underneath the knee if it's not quite reaching. Otherwise, place the right hand on the outside of the left knee. You're not forcing the leg down here. Just a little gentle resistance, and take your gaze over towards the left side of the room. Maybe fan out that left hand. And on your next breath, just come back towards center.
Just take one more hug in with that left knee. Lengthen it out. So now you're long throughout the body. Just let the legs flop out. Just remove any props, your water, your blocks, your books. Just lengthen that for the back of the neck by just tucking in the chin a little bit, placing the head back down. Place the hands up towards the ceiling. Just close your eyes. Release your ujjayi breath as we all come into Shavasana for the next minute or so. Satisfy movement in your hands and your feet. Just bring your knees into your chest as you give yourself one final hug in. Just walk up into a seated position. Just keep your eyes closed. Maybe come sitting on a block or a book, or come up onto your knees, or maybe a regular cross-legged position. Just bring your hands to your chest. So you finish up for another Sunday. And again, just offer yourselves gratitude that you showed up today. Gave yourself the time to, 5 minutes or half an hour, 60 minutes, just giving yourselves time to find yourselves into your body and find a bit of movement. Wishing everyone a fantastic week ahead. Thanks again. All done. Hope that was all good. I feel it in my hips. Hope it worked for you guys. I went a little bit over, so apologies. Here we go. I can't see too clear for me. I might need some glasses. I think COVID's tuned in. Long and short of it, thanks for again supporting and rocking up. There's quite a few classes now. I think this might be the 31st class we've done and together over the lockdown period. So feel free to go back and check out any of the previous classes as you see fit. Got to give a nod to Des O'Connor, who I believe has just passed away. He was a great asset to British TV. And again, happy Diwali to anyone that's been celebrating. Do hit me up with any comments, any feedback. I'll go and try and jump in the comments now, so I can't see too clearly where I am. But yeah, have a great Sunday. Again, it's locked down for most of us around the world, so do check in on at least one person this week, just to see how that person might be doing, if there's anyone suffering from loneliness. But yeah, have a great week, and then put on some more Luther Vandross, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. Many thanks. Take care.